Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hi, how's everyone doing? Let me see who all do we have with us. Okay, a lot of you are joining in. Great. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Everyone is doing healthy. Everyone is doing safe, keeping safe. Welcome back to the Knowledge Happy Hour. I hope you can hear me. Just say yes if you can. Hi, Jana. How are you doing? Hi, Anita. Yes, okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi, Mihir. Good evening. Hi, Reena. Thank you for joining. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for joining, everyone. And so good to see you all again after a week on Facebook. We're just waiting for a few more people to join in. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello. Great. So many people joining in. Great. Good evening. Good evening. Namaste. Hi, Renuka. Okay, I have my chachu also over here. Hello. Hi, Drashti. Hi, Reena. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome once again. Hi, Anamika. Hi, Namrata. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We will just begin in a minute, just waiting for everyone to join in. Yes, good. It's very good to see everyone, Mihi. That's so true. It's like a weekly catch up where we meet and just get to interact. Few more days of lockdown remaining, so it's the only way to catch up. Hi, Yolanda. Thank you for joining us today. All right. So, good evening, everyone. And I am Sonia Dubey Dewan, your host. I am the managing partner and founder of Indian School of Image Management. And I welcome you all to the Knowledge Happy Hour. You know, we meet once a week. This is a season two of Knowledge Happy Hour. We started this in the month of April, where we used to meet every single day, every evening, and used to bring to you a new speaker. The idea behind Knowledge Happy Hour is just sharing pure knowledge. Just come, watch, learn something new. And that's the whole idea of the Knowledge Happy Hour. And I'm so glad that, we got such an immense response and such beautiful response from all of you in season one. So we continued the tradition. Initially, we just wanted it to be for 14, 15 days, but because we got such an overwhelming response, we decided that we will continue the tradition of Knowledge Happy Hour and bring to you more and more speaker and more knowledge along the way. So, once again, welcome all those who just joined in. Sonika, Rodi, Rajesh, Yolanda, thank you for joining us today. And today also, I have a great speaker with me and a really special speaker. So, can I have my speaker with me?
Hello,
And there she is. Hi, Nishka. How are you?
I'm fine, Sonia. Thank you for having me on the
Thank you
Knowledge
for
Happy
joining.
Hour.
Thank you for joining us today. And for all our audience, just a quick introduction. Today we have with us Nishka Rathi. And Nishka Rathi, she is a ghostwriter, and she started her journey way back in 2008. She's an MBA in finance and a trained copywriter. She helps her client craft persuasive content by combining the element of copywriting and financial knowledge. Over the years, she has written blog posts, business content for different niches. She's also a ghostwriter and specializes in creating non-fiction books for business leaders and coaches. Some of her clients have used the books to build successful coaching businesses also. Nishka lives in Mumbai, and during this lockdown, she's spending her time frantically looking for space to write in a home populated by three other people who are also on Zoom call and online classes. So that's Nishka with us today. Welcome, Nishka. It's great to have you on our show, Knowledge Happy Hour. So, welcome to the Knowledge Happy Hour.
Thank you, Sonia. And while you were talking, I was interrupted by two of my kids who came on the side already. Okay, so
Yes.
there's one thing I just want to make clear over here because I get asked this a lot. What is ghostwriting? Because when anybody says ghostwriting, the first thing, and even my
Yes.
closest friends have asked me this, they've said, "Do you write ghost
Yes.
stories?" So I don't write ghost stories. I've never written and I don't read ghost stories either. But I write for other people, and
Right.
my name never comes up there. Their names comes on the books. I am just the person who writes the book for them, takes their
Awesome.
idea, writes it for them. Yeah.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And thank you for introducing. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people had a little confusion about that. So it's great that you clarified. And I think a lot of people who are attending today also relate with that because as image consultants, we are also someone working in the background. So, we don't get the credit most of the time that we made the whole transformation. So we kind of relate.
Wonderful.
So,
But it
Nishka,
is wonderful to see your creation on screen, right?
yes, it is. It is wonderful. Same, I think you would be getting the same feeling when you see the books coming in and, the leaders, and once they put up everything, you must be also getting that feeling. So, yeah, I think we get the similar feeling also when you see your creation.
Yeah.
Can you hear my voice? Is our voice clear? Can I quickly have a poll from the audience if they can hear us properly? The voice is okay, audio is okay, video is okay. Say yes if everything is working fine. All right. Okay. So, Nishka, means without further ado, I'll just hand it over to you. So, I know you have a lot of content to share with us, and especially content for personal branding. I'm very excited because I personally love personal branding. So, I am all excited to hear about it, and I'm pretty sure even our audience is. So, over to you, and please go ahead.
Thank you, Sonia. So I'll start.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about content marketing. The idea for using content to build your personal brand, it gets people tied up in strings, basically because they're saying, oh, what do I have to put out? Because what do I have to sound like? We will come to what you have to sound like, but can you, if you first think about it as communication, you are putting yourself out to the audience. They are going to see what kind of a person you are, what kind of a business you do. So if you treat content as a kind of a communication, like you pick up the phone and you call somebody, it's just that. And then we can deal with the other things in content. So this is a quote from one of my favorite authors on persuasion. He has written a book called Persuasion, and he has talked about techniques to persuade people to buy your things or to persuade people in general, and it's all in communication, as in content creation. So the one thing that he says is people buy from people. And as image consultants, as people who are working on creating their own brands, I think that is one thing you see most often is that people, if they like you, if they relate to you, they will buy from you. They don't need to know everything that you do, but they need to relate to you in some way. And I feel that is very important. Can Does anybody have an experience in that? Is that when they connect with people as relationships, when they build the relationships, then the sales happen better. And if somebody has not experienced that, then we can talk about that too. Okay. Shall I move on?
Yes, Nishka, just keep going. If you have if you have an
All right.
audience question, then you can just maybe give them a little time to answer that. But otherwise, you can just keep going on. Your voice is absolutely clear.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So the first step in content building is planning the content. And the first step before even thinking about, oh, what am I going to write and how am I going to get them, convince them to buy from me, is saying, is deciding who your target audience is. And here there's a big thing or a basic roadblock that I face in many clients is that many clients cannot decide who their target audience is. They say that this product is so good, what I'm doing is so good that it can help a person in the 30s, it can help a housewife, it can help a student, it can help anybody. That's true, your product can help, your service can help a lot of people. But if you choose one, and the reason for it will become clearer later, is that if you choose one target audience and define everything around that target audience, things become simpler for you in communicating your voice to your customer. There is a need to be very, very specific here. And, I did an activity recently with somebody, and I was asked. Now, even I, despite telling people to talk to their target audience, even I don't niche that much. I usually say, okay, I can write content for a lot of people. I can write blog posts for businesses. I can create white papers. I can write books if you want. I can create ebooks if you want. I can do a lot of other content. I can do animation script writing. I've done all that. But if I start saying that, okay, I will write only books for specific people, it is very difficult in the beginning to say that for me. But then I understood that it helps me because when people look at me, they see me as a writer for books for a specific kind of people. It doesn't mean that other people don't contact me. Even now on LinkedIn, I'm getting requests from other people. Do I write this content? Do I write other kind of content? If I'm interested, I will say yes. But the point is, if I niche, it becomes easier for people to connect with me. So the first thing you have to do is to build a picture of your audience. In that case, if you want to really, really sit down and niche your audience, you just see exactly what age group, what marital status, what profession, what all can you define about your audience. And you look at the audience and see, okay, these are the goals of that person, these are the fears of that person. And these things will help you think of your content in a better way because you will know how to address that person in a better way. So you have to note down each and everything that you think makes that person or that personality. If you want to create a personality, give it a name, give it a age, height, anything. Make it very specific, and there you will see a lot of help. You will find a lot of resistance also. That is very common. A lot of resistance also. But if you just keep on building and say, okay, my client, and I'm not saying that your client doesn't need to change over the next 20 years. You can change it every year if you want to. You can change it every 6 months. But for that 6 months or for that 1 year, you talk to one kind of a personality. And that way you build your content. I just want to ask you, what social media do you guys use usually to connect to your audience? Can I get some answers here?
Sure. So, our audience, if you can just like write down in the chat or in the comments that which kind of social media platform do you use to connect with the audience. I can talk about mine. I use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, everything.
Oh my God.
Practically on everything. So let's also hear some answers
How
from
crazy do you go, Sonia, doing that?
totally crazy. And yes, it is sometimes, that you miss out some information on some platform. Like Sometimes I just write down on LinkedIn and then I forget writing about it on Instagram or on Facebook. So it's just go all over the place. We are getting some answers. Instagram, one person said, Anita said LinkedIn. She also said FB. Shilpa is okay. So Anita said FB, LinkedIn, Instagram. She's also on every platform basically. Um, Mihir is very, very, very active on Facebook and Instagram. Shilpa is active on Instagram only. Shalini is saying Instagram and FB. Reena says Insta and FB. So Insta and FB are coming as,
Insta and FB.
yeah,
Yeah, I
like
guess because
most common ones.
FB actually connects to a lot of people.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That's true.
basically, and it helps you a
Yes,
lot. And FB
yes,
groups
yes.
are great too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Those are also great. So, um, I have Mrs. Australia on my FB. Okay. All
Oh,
right. Wonderful. So yes, these are all the platform, Instagram and FB. If we have to take common consensus of what the answer has come, these two
right.
platforms.
Okay. My only thing is that when people are absolutely new to social marketing or to building a personal brand, when they start, there you hear read on Google, there everything says, okay, now Instagram is very important, FB is very important, LinkedIn is very important. So poor person gets very doesn't know where all to go, and there's so many things to do in a day along with posting, right? So my advice would be, if somebody wants to start it out slowly, take one, take two, but be very, very consistent in it. And being consistent means something like FB, show up every day, show up 2-3 times a day. I am on LinkedIn, and I have, this year I have told myself I have to be consistent. I keep on telling everybody I'm doing it for my clients, but for myself, I don't post because I'm like, the whole day I'm writing, and what more can I write now, right? But now I'm trying to be consistent on LinkedIn, and it is helping me. It's not that people are suddenly filling me up with a lot of offers, there are a lot of things happening, but it just builds a traction for you also to post every day. Some people I know post 2 to 3 times a day, but choose one or two platforms and make it a habit. Don't um don't create that, okay, once a week. I did that once a week thing with myself for LinkedIn, and when that one day of the week used to come, I used to be, oh, I'm so busy today, I'll not do anything today. So it just goes. So just make it a habit, make it something like, even before sleeping, I've got to just post something today or I'll not sleep. It has to be that consistent. And you have to be really strict with yourself for that. So as we talked about, choose one or two options and be very, very consistent, because consistency will get you noticed. And why will it get noticed is what I'm going to talk about in the next slide. Creating content. Now, if you remember the target audience that we spoke about, this is where it comes in handy. When you're creating your content, when you're creating your posts, you're talking to your audience. And it doesn't need to be all very formal, or it doesn't need to be always very excited. It doesn't need to be very experienced all the time either, because you are people who, many of you would be starting off for the first time in this line, in your consultancy, in your image building, but you have other experiences with you. So when you are talking about to your audience, bring that out, talk about that, because your audience is not a very going to be a very confident person who's done everything right in their life. Everybody has made mistakes. Speak to your audience's fears, speak to their goals, speak to them what you see yourself doing. And especially I think in image building, is main thing is that people feel insecure about the way they're looking, because those their promotions depend on it, a lot of other things depend on it. So talk to them on those things, talk to them what their goals and how these things can help them, or how it doesn't need to help them only in image building, but how other things can help them. So when you talk to them, don't be talking only about your business, talking only about your sales, because your audience is a full 360-degree person. He's not just a person with just one need. Talk to them of the different needs and the different ideas that they have. Talk to them about something new you learned and how that can help you. That is one thing that your content can do. Be authentic. And when I talk about be authentic is when I said that many of you would be starting off on your work in the beginning. So if you talk to them and say, tell people that, oh, I have worked with so many clients, after some time, the content that you put out will show that you've not worked with so many clients. It just comes out naturally. So be authentic about that. Say that I'm starting out and these are things I've learned, and maybe I was doing something else earlier. And this is what I learned from those other fields. People are always transitioning jobs, careers. They're trying out new things, learning new things. And if you are doing that, wonderful. I'm sure there is nothing wrong in being authentic. The more authentic you are, the more you connect to your audience, the more they connect to you because they say, oh, they think just like us. They believe those things that I believe in. Those things build your groundwork. Now, in every post that you put on FB, on everything you put on LinkedIn, you will not get comments, you'll not get likes, you might not get everything, but keep posting on those things because those are building your idea for your audience. There are many, many lurkers in FB. I am one of them. On LinkedIn, I am one of them there too. I don't always comment on everything I see, but the more I see of somebody's post, the more that idea builds in my head about that person, about that person's thought process, about how that person engages with other people. All these things come out in your content. Be as authentic as you can, and it will help you. It doesn't need to, you don't need to, wash dirty linen, but you need to be talk about things that you went through. Maybe your day today was a hectic day, and I did this and I could not manage everything. Talk about that. Talk about yourself also, and end it with a call to action. And we will talk about call to action too. Are there any questions over here?
All right. If audience have any question, please put it in the comments. And meanwhile, Nishka is so true about the being authentic. And a lot of times, I think that we put in so much pressure of just putting in all the great things about ourselves and putting ourselves in the best possible light and showing that, oh, I did this, my achievement, and this and that. But somewhere I believe that being authentic is also showing the vulnerable side of yourself, like maybe showing a glimpse of that you also struggle, you also had that low period, and then just sharing a little bit about how you dealt with it. Maybe that also kind of, so what I'm getting from you is also showing that little being authentic is also about showing a little bit of your side of the vulnerable side of
Absolutely.
yourself.
You know, for me, when I shared on LinkedIn recently, I think in March or February, and I thought,
Mhm.
okay, I'll just write this post. And I wrote about my journey as a writer, how I started off. I had no clue about what to write, and then I did this, and then this thing. I decided, okay, I left my job. I got a job as a copywriter. I did so well, but then I left that because I said, okay,
Right.
I'll go back into freelancing. That got the maximum reviews, and here I was putting up posts almost every time about the best kind of content to write, how to write better content, how to become a better writer. No, it was me when I put myself out there that it connected.
Wow.
So
Wow.
those
That's
things build. Of course,
Mhm.
I'm not saying go crying every time over there. That's,
Of course. Of course. Yes.
but
And
be
I think,
authentic.
yes, yes, that's so true. And we are not getting any comments or any questions so far. Everyone is just, in sync with what you're saying. So I think we will just kind of go ahead and maybe take the questions towards the end.
Sure. Now, this is my favorite quote that the human experience is universal. What you are experiencing right now is what somebody else might have experienced or is experiencing too. So, when you talk about your experiences, it creates connections. And the roadblocks that you went through in your life, somebody else might be dealing with it right now. When you talk about those things, they create the human experience, they create connections, they make people remember when they were like that or what they are going through. So never stop yourself from sharing the good things and the bad things that you went through. These are ways you connect. Now, when you talk about big brands, they have built their story. You are individuals. You have to build your story. Your story is every experience you've had. Your story is the way you went to school one day and your teacher shouted at you, but your friends supported you. That's your story. Then you talk about bring in other elements to it. You talk about yourself, the things you've seen, the things you experience, the things you've read and learned, and those things deepen you as an individual in front of your client. The client doesn't see only a cardboard figure then selling them something. They see a proper human being. Okay, now the what to do when to sell, the content to create when you sell. The first thing, speak to your audience. Always speak to your audience, and that's again where we come back to your target audience. Is when you know exactly what your audience is, can you speak to them in their language? If you do not have a specific target audience, you cannot speak to them. Now, for image consultants, what's your specific target audience? Is it a professional woman in her 30s, maybe who's in the Supreme Court? Now that's extremely specific. Be as specific as you can, and then you can talk about what your audience is going through words, through visuals, and your content will deepen. Okay, now this is one template that I found about persuasion. The thing is that most people, when they talk about their services that they're giving to them, to your friends, or they put up an ad on FB or anywhere else, they start by talking about their experience. They start by saying, uh, 10 years as a writer, I have written this, I have worked with so and so I can help you. My audience is not looking at my experience in the first go. My audience is dealing with some problems. And some of those problems relate to where I can help him or her. So I have to start talking to my audience in their language and talk to them about the problem in the beginning. So if you look at it, there's a problem here. After years of working with busy, highly driven lads, I've seen so many struggle to get the rock solid and defined apps they wanted before working with me. Miles from the head turning shape they've been chasing for years after following poorly put together programs or just not knowing where to start and what to do for exceptional results. So he's built up that whole picture of that person in words, exactly what that person is going through. They have not achieved what they wanted. And then that person goes on to give a solution. And the solution is it doesn't have to be that way. I want to share the exact strategy I use with my clients. So in a few short weeks, you can finally get the abdominal look you wanted. I know it's possible because I've helped hundreds of guys already with the same system, including myself. So there is solution and there's proof. And another proof is in the visual, the picture, the kind of person they want to be. So this is how you make a good persuasion template. You talk with the problem, address the problem straight away. In copywriting language, we call it addressing the fear or the greed. It's usually either of the two emotions that you address in a person. So one is the fear that I have been trying it for so long and I have not achieved anything. I am so stuck with this look, but I don't want this look. Another is a greed look that you can template that you can use is that, you know, if I look like this, if I have those abs, I will get that job, or I will be up for promotion, or I will have more confidence. Build the greed or build the fear. That's persuasion in the barest minimum words is it's either fear or it's greed. And I'm sorry to say, but that those are the two emotions that really drive human beings. Any questions over here?
Do we have any questions from the audience on the template that just Nishka just shared? How to find your specific target audience? Ma'am, if you want, you can recommend a book also.
Yeah, there are
So
lots
there are
of
two
books. I think
questions.
okay, there are lots of books in this. I will. What I'll do is I will share my whole list of books that I have. There are lots and lots of books that you can read on these.
Wow.
That I
Okay.
share with Sonia. That we can put it on the group later.
Sure.
Right. One of the
Sure.
things that comes in mind, of course, is persuasion,
Right.
and and how to build your target audience.
Hmm.
Is
How
that the
to
next
find a
question?
specific target audience? Yes, that's the question.
Yeah, you have to look within yourself for that. You have to see where can you help the most, and
Right.
where do you want to help the most. You know
Right.
what will excite you the most, doing what, being the image consultant for what kind of a person, to see the
Right.
transformation of what kind of a person. And of course you have to also think, that can the payment should also be there for that, right? The effort that you put in, so you should have a client like that.
Right.
So you have
That's
to
true.
really think through your audience and the service you give. And there can be a lot of services. Like when I say writing, I say I create business content, I create blogs, I write books. I have to decide on what gives me the maximum amount of joy.
Right.
Writing books is the hardest. Writing books, I'm just hitting myself against a wall every day. But I just love it so much. So
Right.
that's why I do it. I mean, I was told in the very beginning when I started writing is that you should do editing. It's faster.
Right.
You don't get you the money faster. You don't have to create assets. But it doesn't give me the joy.
Right.
So I won't do it. So you have to see what gives you the joy
Right.
and also the money. So you have to
Yeah.
see that and decide on that.
That's a great answer, and I hope, Reena, you have got your answer. And yes, your calling will come, so keep waiting for that. She's saying waiting for that to look within and the answers to get from within. So she is waiting for that to happen.
Best thing I used to do, I used to start writing my questions for myself because your head is jumbled up most of the time with a lot of questions. What do I do?
Right.
What do I do? And when you keep walk around with that jumbled head, it becomes even more heavy. So I start writing my questions down. I'm a writer, so I love writing.
Right.
That is
Yes.
the way it works with me. So I write it down, and when it's in
Right.
front of me, then I know what I want to do. Then I can easily look at that. I said, cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this. And then I know
Right.
what I want. So it
Right.
works what works for you,
That's true.
and you have
Very.
to find your soul for that.
So, Reena, I hope that you have to find your soul. That's what Nishka is saying. So, hopefully, you'll find that. And I also love what Rajendra has said, that I agree with the book writing bit. So, I think Rajendra, you know him personally. So, he's saying, I agree with the book writing bit. So, he's also sending his comment
Oh,
on
is
that.
it Mr. Rajendra Nagunkar?
Yes, that's
Oh,
him.
he's my professor. He's my ex-professor. Thank you, sir, for
Oh,
coming
wow.
here.
That's good to have him here. So, all right, Nishka, I think you can move on to the next,
Right.
part of what you were talking about today, and
Yeah.
then we can have. Meanwhile, all the questions that you have, please start dropping it in the chat box so that I can ask Nishka all those questions towards the end. So, go ahead.
Okay. And now this is your audience. Now, when you build your ads, when you build your stories, when you build your connections with them, don't let them go after that. After that, build a call to action. And this is what a friend of mine put on my FB post about an ad. She says there was no CTA, there was nothing, no call to action. What should I do after looking at that ad? What should I do after looking at that small content? Should I go somewhere? Should I buy something from them? Should I download something? Whenever you put ads, whenever you put your content, even on LinkedIn, even on Facebook or Instagram, I know it sounds pushy, but once or twice at least try putting, okay, in the end you put a line that, okay, I am an image consultant, and if you want any advice, you can connect with me on this or drop me a line at on my email. Do something. Don't just let it dangle out there, because your audience needs to be told. And this is very amusing, but some of my best friends don't know exactly what I do. They still tell me, "Oh, this is what you do. You're a ghostwriter." So recently on LinkedIn, I put up a post saying I'm a ghostwriter and I write books for people. And one of my friends just called me up and said, "Oh, I thought you were, you're writing ghost stories." And that's what I said in the beginning of the conversation. People don't know. People don't know where you're leading them to. You have to lead them with a definite end in mind. And if that means telling them that you come here, drop me a mail here, um, send me a DM me here, or download this thing, tell them what to do. That is very essential. Yes, this is my favorite thing, that everybody wants viral content, but viral content takes years to build. One of my favorite books, again, there's a book that came up here, is called The Culture Code by Mark Schiffer. And he talks about building content. And he says that he was helping a person who has a wine, who has vineyards in France, build content. Now they started with shooting videos. Every day they would shoot 20-minute, 10-minute videos for him. It took him 2 years. After 2 years, he just shot a very, very simple video that day of, I think the plant had got cut or it had broken somewhere, and he was just putting a support to it, to the vine. And that video went viral. So if you ask me what goes viral, I don't know what goes viral. But consistency does help. Being consistent all the time, writing, creating content, connecting with your audience makes it viral. And why does it make it viral? Is because as you're connecting to people while building your content, I am also assuming that you're also connecting to more people. You're not only writing content, you're also adding more people to your list. So more people are adding to your list. That way, more people are seeing your content. They are sharing it with more people. The momentum is increasing. And that's how content gets viral. It does not happen overnight. It takes hard work. And every day posting. Okay, now I made a very small slide out of this. This is lead generation material. It's because I didn't know exactly how much to talk to everybody about lead generation, since you are starting out, and I didn't know whether you would be interested in lead generation at this stage, the content for lead generation. But I can speak more if you want. But basically, these are free and paid resources that you are giving to your clients or your
So,
audience.
Nishka, just to add over there so that maybe you can elaborate a little bit, we have audience who's at the beginner, intermediate, and maybe a few in advanced stage also. So, mostly everyone is in the beginner or the intermediate stage. So, you can maybe elaborate a little bit more on the lead generation.
All right, I'll do that. So this is the material that you give in the beginning to your clients, to your audience, saying, I know this is what I've learned, and this is what you should do. And this is free material to build your audience. They will download it. While they download it, they will give an email ID, because it will be either in a PDF form or it will be a video form. And to see it, they'll need to give an email ID. That will be one of the criteria. So you will get authentic email IDs. You will not have to buy email IDs for that. One, you're creating proper leads. You're getting leads from people who you know are interested in the kind of work you do. So that's the second good point about this. And then you can then as you build this lead generation material and you get the emails, then you can start sending them newsletters. You can ask them if they want to sign on to your blog and get updates on the blog. You can create newsletter, blog. You can invite them to any new thing that you're doing, any new promo that you have, some new thing you'll come up with. They can be the first audience that you test it out, right? To get their email IDs, what you do is you create resources in the form of free and paid resources. I'm sure you must have also downloaded some, like checklists, workbooks, ebooks. The ebooks will also be not more than 20 pages maximum, or maybe 40 pages. And these are very small, specific things. A checklist can be something like 10 things to do before you go for a meeting, how to manage the colors that go best for the bridal season. I'm very bad at image marketing. The details will have to tell me what all you talk about. But yeah, checklists, workbooks, and ebooks are the main lead generation material that helps you show your expertise in that subject. People will download it, some will look at it. Many times people don't even look at downloaded material. That's irrelevant. The thing is that the word goes out that you're an expert in this. It helps you build your expertise to another level, because now you're giving proof along with your testimonials and other things. This is also very valid proof that you know what you're talking about. So this is also a very good source of content creation, of connecting to your audience. And as it can be as simple as, the simplest thing that you find the most simplest might be most difficult for some other person. Like for me, when I talk about how to write a blog post, it's a very simple thing to me, but if I write it for others, I can create it as a PDF and give it to others. Like, okay, you have to research, you have to create an outline, you have to find a visual, you have to have a headline that works for you, a tagline. Now, these things comes by second nature to me, but for my audience, it does not. So you have to think through those things for yourself too, because there are things that come as second nature to you because you know them. And that's your lead generation gold material, because you know it so well that you don't even think it's important, but it is very important. It is like the basic step. And that's what I feel about lead generation. It should be the basic, the things that you know so well that nobody can doubt you on that. Are there any questions on this?
We are getting a lot of questions, Nishka. They are coming in the chat. They are not particularly related to lead generation. Maybe on lead generation also it will come. I missed out one question, which was, when you started talking about the content initially, and there was a question where you were talking about greed and fear. There is a question which is from Roli, and Roli is asking, what about vanity besides greed and fear?
That's, you know what? There's a lot. You will get 10 emotions or 20 emotions. There's curiosity, anger. But everything comes down to greed and fear. If you just tear it down, it'll come down to that. What is
Okay.
vanity in the end? It is a greed, and it is also a fear that you're missing out on something.
Mhm.
That you need to be this look, otherwise you will not get something because you're not that. That's vanity, right? What is
True.
vanity? I mean, in the end, everything from curiosity also comes down to greed or fear. You're curious because either you are greedy and you want to
Mhm.
know how to make more money, so that makes you curious, or you're fearful because you're saying, okay, my income might reduce after I'm 50. So how do I make
Right.
more money? So you're curious. So everything, what I feel is, in the end, it's greed or fear. You can give them many other names. Of course, there
Mhm.
are like, I think there are like 20 in copywriting that we learn. These are the emotions
Okay.
that your headline speaks to. I think there are 20 emotions, but in
Right.
the end, they all come down to greed or fear.
Fear. Okay. I hope that answers Rolly's question. And I have tons of questions for you. So if you want to just maybe, I think you are towards the end of your presentation. So
Yeah,
you maybe want to wind up and then we will just, get to the question answers.
sure. I think this is my last slide.
Oh,
Let's make
okay.
this work. So we are done.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's great. So thank you so much, Nishka. And I'm just going to now unleash all the questions to you. So the first question is by Ashwin. He's asking, what's the best approach for developing content for videos?
Content for videos. I am videos are something new for me too. But creating content for videos follows the same path as any other content. A, find your target audience, decide on what they want, talk to their fears, talk to their emotions, and create your video. The content will never vary. The medium can vary. How you present it can vary, but the content idea will remain the same. Because YouTube
Right,
is also full of content on how to help you put up videos, how to help you create the best look. So the content will always be about helping, about addressing their fears, addressing their goals of your target audience.
right, right. Okay. I think that answers the Ashwin question. And Ashwin, if you can write it in the comments and say that you have got your answer. But very well explained, Prisha. And I think it goes back to how you're saying that finding your target audience is the most important thing. So you need to do that, Ashwin.
I
Okay,
think,
moving. Can you hear me? Nishka, you there?
yeah, I can hear you.
Great. All right. So the next question is
Yeah,
by Archana, and Archana is asking, every audience understand or interprets content in a different way. So how do we cater to each of them?
hi Archana. Now every audience understands or interprets content in a different way. So that means if you want, and this is again for people who are starting out, I would say keep to one kind of content in the beginning.
Right.
Do if it's videos you're comfortable with, if it's podcasts that you're comfortable with, or if it's blogging or just plain posting, whatever you're comfortable with, do that.
Right.
Then after 2 years, 1 year, when you're comfortable, then you move ahead. But in the beginning, be comfortable in your space doing that because the audience will react. There'll be audience for content in written form, in video form, and in podcast form.
Right. Right. Okay. I hope that answer your question, Archana. There is another question that is coming from Drashti. Drashti is asking how to start writing a blog for a beginner. I think you mentioned that you can give easy tips, so that's why the question came. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
You will have to be consistent. First, pick your target audience and create a content schedule for yourself that, okay, I'll be writing on these topics. Make your topic calendar, make your content calendar for yourself, and then start writing. And writing, what I have to say about writing is you will not do everything in one day. You will not find your content, research it, write it, edit it, and post it on one day. If you do that, you will go crazy and you will hate content creation. So what you
Right.
do is you first create your content calendar if you can. And if you can't create it for a whole month, then do it for the next 2 weeks or 1 week. Do that. Create, get your topics. First, one day is research day. Research your topic. The second day is your outline day. You outline your topic for yourself because when you're researching, Google will drive you crazy many times. You will find a lot of material to write, right?
True.
Then
True.
you outline it. Third day, you write it. And if you have that patience, you can outline it and write it the same day if you want. But
Hmm.
your editing should be done on another day. You
Right.
have to go back and look at what you've written after 24 hours to see whether it makes sense. Because many times it doesn't make sense. Many times you will say, oh, I should have added this, I should have written about that. Oh, the lines are not matching, things are not, it's not in sec, the sequence is not proper. So do that on the last day.
Right.
And then you post and find a good image. Because always put an image with your blog.
Yes, I think the importance of image everyone understands in my audience at least. And this is the question from Drashti. Drashti, you definitely understand the importance of image. So a
Okay,
good
there's
image.
one more point I learned. Now, we
Yeah.
also there's always a lot to learn. Now, I learned about this in one of my LinkedIn posts. Somebody posted that when you're posting images in
Mm-hmm.
your LinkedIn, Instagram, something, don't forget to caption them.
Oh,
Many times we just
okay.
put an image and we don't put any
Right.
caption on the side. So that's a
Right.
valuable content space that you're missing out on.
Oh, wow.
Many people,
Okay.
because you have to be notice one thing, that people when they read content, they do so, like Archana said, they do it so in different ways. When people
Right.
are looking even at Instagram or LinkedIn, they don't look at each post properly. They scroll
Right.
through.
Right. Right. Right.
So another thing about when you're posting, now this is again going away from blogs to other social media, is that when you put posts on social media, don't make big fat paragraphs.
Hmm.
They should be small, small lines so people can
Right.
easily scroll.
Right, right. Okay. That's a good tip. I'm gonna take that tip also for myself
Yeah.
because I usually write a lot of stuff. I don't either write anything or I write too much of it. So I think I need to learn this. All right.
Yep.
Lot of
We
questions
are
coming
always
in.
learning.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. So another question. This is from Mihir. Mihir is asking, is emotional intelligence a good topic to create content in today's time?
I think that's brilliant because
Yeah.
we are in lockdown. We need more emotional intelligence at this time.
Totally.
Emotional intelligence is always a good topic to talk about. I still
Right.
remember there was an article about Harvard graduates and how their
Mhm.
professors noted that every
Mhm.
batch of the Harvard graduates are getting more and more. They're getting better and better marks than
Right.
their predecessors, right? But
Right.
the
Right.
emotional quotient is very bad because they're spending so much time just studying and not interacting, and they are on the net most of the time. When they go out into the real world and they are dealing with issues in their office and where they have to network, where they have to build connections, they are failing miserably. I think emotional
Right.
quotient is a very important topic. I mean, it's a evergreen important topic.
Right. Right. So Mihir, start writing, I guess. Start sharing content on emotional intelligence if you're thinking about it. So Nishka approves it. All right. The next.
Now the world will prove it.
All right. The next question is again by Archana. Archana is asking a very good question, actually. Archana is asking, how does podcast help in image building or management?
First, I have to say hi to Archana because she's a very dear friend, and she's
Okay.
meeting me over on the talk through this.
That's
This is
so
the only
sweet.
way we are meeting now.
Wow.
So, Archana, how does podcast help in image building or management? So, podcasts again show your expertise. They show how well you know your subject, and they not only your expertise on how you can talk to others and what
Right.
you can gain from them and knowledge.
Right.
So, I feel a podcast or interviews as such, where, which should not be a specific kind of the kind of interviews we don't like, where people dominate and don't let another person speak. But when a person allows somebody else to speak and gives them space to speak, that also builds an idea in your audience's mind that this person is approachable,
Right.
right?
True.
And is a
True.
person I would like to talk to. Like I
Absolutely.
had one mentor, he's a US based person, and his podcast, and he's a southern gentleman. So his podcast is full of slowly, slowly he will talk. And it is so different from the other podcasts that you hear, that go, where they have
Go
actually
fast.
sped up the words. And he says, my audience is like that. Even the people I interview like that. So he has his own style of talking and understanding. And that comes across as an individual in his podcast.
Right. Right. So means the answer and the consensus is that definitely it helps in image building or management, and plus it just brings a personality to your
Yes.
personality out, as how you said that the way to speak, and even from, like, if I have to, because we are talking about image building, so I can't keep quiet. So just to add my 2 cents on it, it is a great way because at the end of the day, you are seen as a person who's a subject matter expert. It's easy sometimes to just put up a picture, and it's actually very easy to just put up a picture. But podcast requires you to have some matter, some content with you. That means you know your stuff. For it's not easy for a person to just start doing podcasts, because if you don't have the content, you don't know what you're going to talk about, people usually back out and say no, podcast is not for me. So if you know your content, then only you'll do podcast, and that shows that you are a subject matter expert. So definitely a very good, very powerful tool to build your image, and from an image consultant point of view. So I hope that helps. It's a combined answer from Nishka and me.
Anything in content helps. The first thing is that we start feeling that it is we are not good enough. We need to be
Mhm.
perfect.
Right.
Um, I don't know if Rajendra sir is there on the video still,
He's there.
but
He's
when I put up my first video 2 weeks ago, I hate doing videos. I am the person who's behind in every photograph. I do not like being photographed, so I had to force myself to do that content. And he says, "Oh, it
right.
looks very nice." I said, "Where are you seeing the nice? For me, I can
Right.
see all the things that are wrong in it." He says, "No, go forward." But that
Right.
said, we ourselves see so much negativity in what we put out because we
True.
know what we can be, but the other person
Right.
doesn't know.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So true. I'm getting more questions, so I'm going to ask you two last questions. One is from Anita,
Right.
and the last one is from me. So, because I didn't get the chance to ask you any question. So, Anita is asking, how do you optimize your content for search engine?
See, I am not a believer in SEO. I'm sorry. I believe that the content you put across will automatically generate SEO because you're talking about your subject. I don't need to look into keywords and fill up my blog post with keywords because it negates the purpose for me because it does not make it interesting enough.
Hmm.
When I'm making it
Right,
interesting, I'm using the words, and those words are picked up by Google. But if I keep on just putting SEO words three in a row or two in a row, it cuts my content. It does not make my content flow properly. I am not a believer in it. So
okay,
I have not even done it myself for my
okay,
clients. I always say your content, when you put across your depth of learning, your depth of knowledge about a subject, it will be picked up. And the
right,
point is that SEO and all makes us believe that whatever content we do, it will be picked up faster. There's no fast game in this. In content creation, 2 years is the minimum time it takes to build your traction. It does
right.
not happen in 6 months.
Right, right. That's true. So, Anita, I hope you got your answer. It is all about consistency, then optimizing your content. And hi, Shilpa. Hi there. Nice to see you, Sonia. Okay, now glad that you could join. Thank you so much. And my last question to you, Nishka, is that if you can just give quick tips, like hacks on how to write a great, headline. Like if somebody is writing those caption or headline,
Yeah.
sometimes you have amazing. This is a problem that I face. I have so much matter. My brain is filled with, like, if somebody asks me a question, and I can just go on and on about
Yeah.
it. But then I really struggle on summarizing it, and sometimes my headline goes as long as a sentence itself. So, how do you figure out to write a great headline that can quickly just, capture attention, and then make the person go through the amazing content that you're writing down below?
So there are ways to do it. There are also apps on Google. You know, there's a headline. I think HubSpot has this headline generator where you put in
Oh,
your two, three words and it gives you. That is one thing. The other thing is to make it interesting. Again, what I feel is that look at your target audience. What is their question? And
right.
if your answer is answering a lot of questions, pick up one
Mhm.
point.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
how to make the bindi work for you. It
Right.
is, I would not know how to do that. For me, if you take me as a target audience who is absolutely wants to look good on in traditional wear, then you take these simple. Just see
Right.
what your audience would want. And of course, there are these questions. You can have a question kind of a thing. kind of a
Right.
headline.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there is you can give listicles are there, but they are overdone also. Like 10 tips to look good for Diwali
Right.
party. You know,
Right.
but think of your audience now. If your audience is defined as a 30 something professional working woman who has no time for getting ready because she's busy running between home and office, so what kind of a headline would work for her? How to get ready in 5 minutes,
Right.
how
Right.
to do your hair at break. I mean, those things, what is time is efficient for her, right?
Correct.
So those
Correct.
kind of things would work there.
Right.
Again,
Right.
look at their fear, goal, and address one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, what happens is that we try to address a lot of things because we know so much,
Yeah.
and we know
True.
that, okay, and we also know one more thing is that everything is interrelated.
Mm-hmm.
If you
True.
do this, the other thing will also get affected, and you have to manage this and that and that. But right now, you just leave the ands and just take one single thing and concentrate on that. Or if you want to make it a longer thing, then you say in series 1, 2, 3,
Mm-hmm. Correct.
getting ready for a party, part one,
Part two,
the
part
sari
three.
drape, part two, part three. Then go step by step in each thing, because nobody has the time to read. People scroll.
True.
They need all those things. They need
That's true.
to be interested and do it, and they need, we usually save a lot of articles that we read on Medium. I like it in the beginning, but then I because I don't have time to read it, so it's gone into my bookmark.
Yes. Right. That's true. Yeah. No, very well explained, Nishka. And I think, yeah, that is something that I can keep in mind, that maybe just address one thing at a time. And I'm sure everyone can help, you know, take that tip with them. And we're getting a lot of amazing comments and feedback from people. So people are saying thank you. And image with caption is a brownie point. That's what Drashti said. Your professor, Mr. Rajan, said, yes, caption on a visual post or a description is very useful. Mihir is saying, thank you so much for the help and approval on emotional intelligence.
Anytime.
Shilpa is saying, very thankful for you to bring this information on Knowledge Happy Hour and lovely webinars. Our pleasure, Shilpa. And thank you for coming back and listening to the Knowledge Happy Hour. And Anita said, thank you. Where the entire world runs behind SEO, it makes real sense. Thank you so much. So that was a good insight on SEO. And I may have missed out a few questions or maybe a few comments, but overall I see that people are really happy, and I'm pretty sure that they are taking back a lot of information from this session today. So thank you so much, Nishka. Maybe after the session is over, you can go into the comment section on the FB page, and then maybe you can just read a few comments. If you want to reply to a few of them, please go ahead and do that. If you have more questions to our audiences, if you have more questions, Nishka, how can people reach out to you if they want to reach out to you?
You can reach out to me at nishkarights@gmail.com. I will put it on the comments below.
Comments. Wonderful. So you
Yeah.
can reach out to Nishka. She will write down her email ID for you to reach out to her if you have specific questions. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Nidhi, for attending. And yes, Nidhi is saying, Nidhi Other, that as a beginner, it made so much sense to hear from what you had to say about
Thank you.
content. So I'm so everyone is loving the session, and thank you so much for coming to our Knowledge Happy Hour, Nisha, and sharing
My
your
pleasure.
insights. It was
Thank
a
you,
pleasure
Sonia.
to host you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much.
And thank you to our lovely audience who keep coming back. Shilpa, yes, even we look forward for you to keep coming back and attending our webinars. If you have missed it, and all of you have missed parts of it, you know that these videos are available on our Knowledge Happy Hour on our Facebook page. So go into the video section and you can view all the Knowledge Happy Hours. As I said, it's information. We are just sharing knowledge. So come, learn, and that's about it. Be back next week. We will be back with another session of Knowledge Happy Hour on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Till then, stay safe, take care, be healthy. Bye bye.
Bye.